All right, it's called Gigguk Misses what the old anime community was like. Is this a boomer take? Is this a pattern of behavior that we see from every generation? As they get old, they always say, back in my day, things used to be way better. Let's see what he has to say.
Chainsaw Man, all right, that I'm hype about. Surely the Chainsaw Man movie. Okay, I have high hopes for the Chainsaw Man movie. I think it's gonna be good.
Yeah, based off the trailer alone, a lot of people are complaining about like the difference in color and shit like that. Is that big of an issue? I thought that the trailer was amazing. It looks like the Reize movie is going to be amazing.
I mean, Chainsaw Man stopped airing right after it started to pop off in the anime, in my opinion. So I'm raring to get back to the world of Chainsaw Man. More Makima, please. I'm begging. Oh man, the Chainsaw Man's son are gonna come back. Oh, I thought I'd escape the horniness for just a second, and then we get one frame of Makima, and everyone emerges again. Oh.
People really love barking for Makima, man. I think that there's definitely like, what kind of people love Makima? And again, if you love Makima, there's nothing wrong with it. I think she's an evil ass manipulating bitch, but people love that. She's like sexy. She's powerful. She's mysterious. She grooms people, right? She manipulates. She does not care about Denji. I'm pretty sure she treats him like a fucking dog. A lot of people enjoy that though. It doesn't have to be that deep though. All they see is a sexy woman with big hips in a professional business suit and see like a powerful dominant woman, and they like that. It really doesn't have to be this deep of like, oh my god, this woman is a manipulator, gaslighter, groomer, how dare you enjoy her. There's nothing wrong with that. A lot of people meme on it and they start, barking for Makima, saying like, oh my god, put a collar on me.
God, I'm not ready. I'm not ready anymore. God. Is it weird to think that even in the time that Chainsaw Man aired originally and the anime community now, like the anime community now, in some ways, even more insufferable, even though it's just been a few years since Chainsaw Man aired.
Has it? Chainsaw Man, I mean, I was reacting to anime. Like, this is not too far away. Like, I thought we were going to be talking about, like, the last decade when I wasn't reacting to anime, so obviously I have no clue about, like, what the masses think about, whatever their favorite anime or whatever to pop the shit on. When Chainsaw Man was airing, did we not have a bunch of crazy people on Twitter still fucking making rage bait posts? I think that Gigguk probably sees it from, like, a different lens. And everything has to do with, like, perception. Like, whatever group chats you belong to, whatever social media or outlet of news you look to, right? That kind of feedback makes you think like this is reality, that this is the anime community or the fandom, because that's like the lens that you see it through. But for me, I don't think really much has really changed, if any, within the span of when Chainsaw Man aired and now.
Aired previously. I'm wondering what the community reaction would be to Chainsaw Man now in the modern day as it's airing. It makes me think sometimes the anime community is more horny now, Lamau.
No, I generally don't think so. People have been horny posting all the time. You're probably saying this because it's a confirmation bias of you seeing random tweets pop off where all they do is just like, oh my god, put a collar on me. I'd bark for Makima. Let me lick her like boots. Like, I'm pretty sure people have been posting this kind of shit always.
I don't know if I agree with that. The anime community has always been horny. There's just more people in the anime community now.
Yeah, true.
I don't know about you, my guy. I don't know about you. But I feel like now there are more people that judge people being horny in the anime community.
I agree with that. Back in the day, people like I don't want to call it the wokeification or the wokeness, but like, obviously there's a lot of things that has to do with Japanese culture and anime that we turn a blind eye to. A lot of it revolving around lolicon stuff and degenerate fan service. We just kind of, it is what it is, and we kind of move on. But as more popular the anime becomes, it becomes more Puritan. A lot more people being injected into anime community, being from places where, again, they have they're exposed to strong Western ideologies. They're very quick to demonize and shame fan service and stuff like that. Most of them are like new people too. That's why there's like a lot of gatekeeping happening where they're just kind of like saying filtering out the tourists, gatekeeping this, because obviously there's a lot more new people coming in, again, with that ideology and belief of Western society values and that Japanese fan service and stuff like that should be censored.
Just because there's so many horny people in the anime community. Back in the day, people in the anime community could be horny about the weirdest shit, and people would be like, it's just anime, innit? It's just anime. But it makes me wonder how many Like, the anime climate has changed so much back when I got into the anime community. The biggest change, I think, is the weekly discussions and the weekly leaks that happen and the immediate judgments you get from like manga leaks about like certain developments that happen in the manga. Makes me wonder, what would it be like if some of like our OG favorite anime had started airing now, and what the reaction would be on Twitter and stuff.
I mean, Gushing Over Magical Girls aired very recently too. I don't see many people, shitting on it. You know what I mean? If Mushoku Tensei aired like 20 years ago, there probably wouldn't be as much people hating on it, It's very interesting. Japanese are considered more conservative with their dressing compared to the West. That's also another very interesting point. Where again, the whole idea of censoring and being opposed and being very Puritan and anti-horny comes from the West, yet the West seems to really be a lot more flashy in the way that they present themselves, right? That's a very interesting case study to be done about the whole belief system and ideology regarding censorship and fan service, even though Japan has the craziest censorship and the craziest fan service happening, yet they're very reserved. But the West is like the opposite. Maybe there's some theme of like, so when you are forced to live in a certain way and to be very reserved, and there's no outlets of your desires, those things, they really manifest in the weirdest way. There was a school known as the Christian school when I used to grow up, and that school we knew was fucking crazy because it's a religious school. And everyone knew in town that the girls from the Christian schools are the freakiest at parties. Do you know why? Because they're forced to live in a very modest and, way to kind of reserve yourself. Religion, Christianity, blah, blah, blah. But when they finally get an outlet to kind of express their inner desires, because it's never been it's never been treated in like a healthy way, it all just pops out of nowhere. It's just like years of backed up desires just culminating into the craziest way possible. I wonder if there's something similar with Japanese culture in the way that they, are humble and modest and are very reserved, and I guess even the way they dress versus, let's say, the JAVs that they make or even the crazy animes that it make. And in turn, the same shit with America, or like Western, North America, where Western values, it's all about individualism and being able to, kind of like, what's the word? Kind of really express yourself. But then it's like the opposite of people now wanting to censor and, be more Puritan around that topic.
Like that. Can you imagine what Death Note would be like in today's climate? Like, imagine Death Note didn't exist, and
I think Death Note in this climate would do really well. You see what's happening with Luigi Mangione or whatever, right? The whole shooting assassination incident of the United Health, CEO guy. People think it's based. People love it because, and I'm not, advocating for, vigilantism or assassinating people just because they don't align with their political beliefs. But like, I understand that if someone as corrupt and evil as him, the person who was in charge of all this fucking health insurance fraud being assassinated by a vigilante, like, people love that shit. What's Death Note? Isn't Death Note about a guy who has a book and he writes names and they die and he just wants to like get rid of criminals? Like, it's like the idea of absolute justice. Like, I think that people would love it. I think they would.
And the anime community was as big as it is now when Death Note aired. Bro, I think it would be insufferable. Imagine Death Note manga leak culture. I know, right?
The leak culture. I thought we were talking about public perception based on the themes of the anime.
No, it would actually be insufferable. I actually don't think I would have been able to enjoy Death Note if we had the same climate we do now.
I should probably skip this part. Never know one day if we're gonna watch Death Note, so we're gonna skip this.
Like, people would be theorizing and people would be like, yo, Light doesn't know what he's doing. And the amount of leaks and the amount of theories and shit like that. Oh man, I'm glad that some of the OG anime back in the day didn't have some of this stuff to deal with. Remember Dragon Ball Z spoilers back in middle school?
I don't. The fuck?
I never got Dragon Ball Z spoilers back in middle school.
My only feed through Dragon Ball was through TV. I guess, I wasn't really on like the internet forums and shit.
Because for me, hardly anyone watched Dragon Ball Z back when I was a kid. Light and L fan counts would go crazy, bro. Imagine, especially Joe. Oh my god, the amount of thirst posting that would happen during the feet washing scene as well. Oh my god. Can you can imagine that for a
I mean, people horny post like, yeah, there's a fan cam for Light and Light and what L, but what about, you know, like the Makima fan cams or like all the other people being down bad for girl characters?
second. Oh my god. And then I can only imagine some of the shit they be doing. And then fucking Polygon releases an article being like, oh, Death Note is actually a political anime. And then you get like, oh my god. Man, anime is like toxic nowadays, huh? I'm just kind of realizing. I don't know.
I don't think anime is toxic, but what Gigguk's trying to say is more like the community has become a lot more toxic because it's getting way too, like, there's a bunch of different things. There's not a single thing that's causing this, right? At the end of the day, it all has to do with the advent of technology, everything being a lot more accessible and people being able to spread their opinions a lot more faster, right? Using Twitter and Reddit and whatever. And if you rage bait, if you thirst post stuff like that, it gets a lot of impressions. There's also an injection of new people coming into, you know, the anime fandom who are most likely people, you know, tightly held in Western values to the point that they start making essays about how like, oh my god, is Ruka trans or not? Oh my god, you know what I mean? Like in Steins Gate, I could totally see that shit happening. A lot of people trying to bring in a lot of like random fucking conversations and debates that no one fucking asked for. Stuff like that, right? And when all that shit happens, right, you got new people coming in, technology just making shit more accessible than ever, and people just, you know, being able to say whatever the fuck they want and, you know, rage baiting, impression farming. Yeah, it does seem more toxic than before when, you know, before people were just like, you know, they would see some sus scenes and just be like degenerate, based, and just move on.
This is just me. I'm just like, damn. In some ways, I miss when the anime community was one community. I miss when the anime community was just one united community. It was a lot smaller back then, but nowadays it feels like anime is so segmented into different groups and different people.
Yeah, I agree. I think that's inevitable though, right? The bigger you get, like the bigger like the fandom gets, the more that you're gonna have different like schools of thoughts and other people, you know, aligning with different belief systems and stuff like that. A lot more people coming into anime, I think there's nothing wrong with that. Like I think that the more people that show up, the more people can enjoy anime, the more we're gonna get better anime and everyone kind of like celebrate. It's just that if you're too plugged in online, if you're too, you know, connected to social media, then you're gonna just see all this different confirmation bias of the most mentally ill people arguing and debating and doing all this shit that we consider toxic, and then you're gonna be like, yeah, anime used to be way better back in the day.
That constantly clash at each other. Joey take? I'll happily have that take. Because
Joey take. Ooh, anime man, I'm putting on blast.
I do miss those days. I'm not saying things were better back then, but I miss that aspect of it at least. I definitely miss that aspect of it because now there's just a lot of noise, and I'm glad that I've
Hey, a lot of noise. Remember that one video we watched about how the modern anime is ruined because there's still so much fucking noise happening where people are basically telling you how to feel about different anime before you even watched it?
I was able to make my own little bubble here, but when I go out into the world, and maybe that's just the internet nowadays, maybe this is just a wider analogy of just the internet in general now.
It is. It's just, again, with the internet, you know, being accessible to more people and more people coming in with different, you know, mindsets and ideologies, clashing against, you know, the OG anime fans. That's what we have now.
Nowadays, as opposed to the anime community individually.
At the end of the day, like, there's nothing you can really do about it. And honestly, like, there's no need to be frustrated and worried that, like, you know, oh my god, the anime fandom has changed since back in the day. Things used to always be better. To me, I don't think none of that shit fucking matters. I'm just having fun watching anime with my community, and we're just doing our thing. And if we see random schizo posts online and shit like that, I just ignore it and fucking move on. But it is definitely undeniable that things have changed, right? A lot of the people that used to watch anime back in the day who don't really even think about, like, oh, is this cancelable? Should I be triggered by this? What kind of themes are they kind of trying to tell us? Trying to do identity politics and talk about like the social narratives of different animes and the themes that it's, you know, preaching about. Like, is this acceptable? Is this not? It's just like, just shut the fuck up, bro. Just watch the anime. If you don't want to watch it, just don't watch it. It's not for you. It is what it is. Please go check out Mr. SleepyClips channel. Here's a link to the channel. They give great bite-sized takes from Gigguk that it's really nice for me to react to. I'll see you next time.